Hello, everybody. This is episode 2 of Crush It Club. Today I'm doing a book review, which is why I've chosen this cool background. So the book I'm going to review today is Russell Brunson's Traffic Secrets. Now, it's the third in a trilogy of books about ClickFunnels and conversions and stuff, because he is the co-founder of ClickFunnels. But this book is, I would say, highly recommended because I read it, or listen to more accurately, a ton of books. And what I love about what he's done is he gives credit where credit is due. He oftentimes refers to the people who have taught him something. And that is something a lot of people do not do in their books. They want to pretend that they know everything rather than they learned what they're presenting. So he's really good that way. And another thing he does is he talks about how if you hired him for $100,000 a day, he would tell you the exact same thing he's telling you in the book. So this starts off with his Dream 100, which we'll loop back to in a second. The bottom line is he doesn't pretend to be teaching you anything he wouldn't be teaching you in a private consult. He is, in that sense, not holding things back. He's just saying, here's what's important. Here's the priority I put on it. And if you hired me one-to-one for a day for that $100,000, this is how I would do it. I would do it the same way as I'm doing in this book. So between his honesty about giving credit and his honesty about what it would look like if you hired him for a day, and saying, look, if you can do this yourself, if you're determined, if you want to put this together yourself, this book is the equivalent to hiring me for a day for $100,000. So I really respect that. So this is, as I said, the third in a trilogy of books. But I want to do this one first because what happened was, after he wrote the first two, a lot of his readers were saying, well, I need more traffic for the other stuff to become more relevant. That is ClickFunnels, sorry, not ClickFunnels. His second book was, his first book was .com Secrets, and his second book was Expert Secrets. And the third is, as I said, the one I'm going to do today. But from the first two books, his readers were saying, well, I need more traffic to make this more relevant. So I'm going to review these three books in the order I think is most relevant to you as a reader. He may not agree. He does give a recommended reading order, but I can't recall what it is. And part of the trick is I'm going to do this like Sesame Street. So today is brought to you by adaptability. I am doing this about 8 hours later than I had planned to do, but I either adapt or break the consistency, the chain that I do not want to break on day 2 of my new show. So I'm just going to adapt. And the other one is sustainability, which is related to adaptability, or sustainability. So the reason that's important is because I'm going to be doing this pretty informally for now, because I don't know the OBS and the bells and whistles I'm going to later put on. But rather than get ready forever and do nothing, I'm going to pull the trigger now, which is why this might be spontaneous and a little sloppy with no bells and whistles and overlays and stuff. So what I'm going to be doing is exactly what I'm doing right now, which is looking down at my phone and then commenting my way through the table of contents for Traffic Secrets. As I said, I think this is the first book you should read of the three. I think you should read them all because they're excellent. Lots of execution. He, of course, talks about ClickFunnels being the co-founder, but screw that. He still gives you a lot of gold and a lot of stuff you can act on. So he's not heavy on principles so much as execution. And I think ideally, the ideal situation is both. If you understand the high level, you can create your own executions. But if you don't understand the high level deep enough, which usually comes from doing strategies and executing things, those tactics, then you never are able to develop enough understanding of the high level to be able to create those. So many books would do one or the other. They go all principles and then you don't know how to apply it yourself, or they go all tactics and then you can't see the big picture and how to generalize from those first principles. So here we go. So his first part is he talks about section 1. It's who is your dream customer. Now, I just learned about this through, let's see, a month ago, I did my dream customer. It's pretty interesting, actually, because as much as I've spent a lot of time studying marketing, I had never, until Carrie Wallace, my current mentor and coach for specific parts of internet marketing, especially around YouTube in-stream ads. Recommend her, she's great. I hadn't thought of what customer would I like to work with. I only thought of what customers does this fill a need for. So he emphasizes this too, right? That what customer would you love to work with? Because that's an important point. It's like this series, in fact. Somebody has recommended that I simplify my language, and I'm going to say screw that for the most part. And the reason is my ideal customer is intelligent and I don't have to explain stuff to them. Now, if I miss something or I use words that somebody doesn't know, normally I will define them. And if I don't define them, write something in the comments. I'm not interested in being condescending, but if we have to stop and assume everybody is at a 10th grade level, I'm not trying to get elected for president, or in my case, prime minister, since I'm Canadian. I'm not trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. I'm trying to approach this to what my market-derived customers are. So after 161 articles on LinkedIn, my market-derived customers seem to be technical salespeople who I'm less interested in reaching, but that's totally okay. But executive directors and founders are actually collectively the largest audience who's reading my content. So now hopefully watching it. So here we go. Like I said, dream customer. So define your customer in terms of somebody you would love to work with, not just who can you serve, but who would you like to serve? Because there's going to be a lot of people that fit into people who may buy your product and people you might like to work with, but ideally you would like to combine those two, niche down your group tighter, and then you don't have to explain yourself. Then you don't have to work with customers you'd rather not. So that's the first thing, is like, where are they hiding? So this is secret number 2 in his book. So where are they hiding is just, he goes over what places do these people hang out. So once you've identified your dream customers, you can then go find them, especially he talks, oh, sorry, this is the Dream 100, right? So where are they hiding? So when we're talking about the Dream 100, he's talking about specifically people who are sort of more famous, more followed, more successful, as exemplars of who you want to appeal to, right? So mine actually, it worked out just by sort of chance and a little bit of strategy, but mostly by market derivation, is Elon Musk. So he's sort of the singular customer avatar for me for a lot of reasons I won't go into right now. But in essence, he's a founder, CEO, scientific, believes in science, not this pseudoscience horse shit. So he, in many ways, exemplifies. Now, the top 100 would be 100 people who are most like the customers I want to reach, but also already successful, already have followers, because this is Traffic Secrets and it's about traffic. You want to find people on social media or on whatever, online, who exemplify the kind of customers and market you're after. So I found that pretty interesting, because he talked about unfollowing everybody in your social networks except the top 100. So you define the top 100, you brainstorm those people who are sort of ideal, that are higher level and you want to get their attention, but you don't do it directly by going, hey, give me a shout out or anything like that. So he uses, proper strategy. So you find the basic places where these people hang out. So for example, Elon Musk, Twitter. Everybody knows he's on Twitter. He's not on LinkedIn. You can't find him there. I don't know what other social media, but I know he's on Twitter. So that's just an example of a singular person in my top 100. I haven't even yet defined my top 100. So the next one he talks about, secret number 3, is the hook, story, offer, and the attractive character. So the hook is, something to get them interested, right? So again, talking about Elon, since that's relevant to me, the hook for me is talking about first principles, talking about science as it applies to business. In other words, there's so much foo-foo nonsense out there about mindset and other things. And this came along before I had created that avatar, before I realized who that was. And essentially what it is I want to be sort of the myth buster of pseudoscience in business, especially around neuroscience, science, and psychology, because neuroscience is having a moment in social media, in business, and most of the people, even some of the big gurus, don't know what they're talking about, right? They don't know it. They just read something online, and then it's just enough to make people who know less than them think that they're experts, when in fact they're not. So my background is in neuroscience. That's why I'm really going to call it out. When I see something that's questionable in neuroscience, I absolutely call it out. And if I don't know it, it's pretty unlikely that they know it. So anyway, getting on with the rest. So the story is exactly what it is. It's a narrative, because that's sort of fundamental to human nature. The offer is, what value do you give them, I suppose. So we did the hook is, for me, science as it applies to business. Kaizen Business Science is the name of my company. So that's the idea that science plus business equals results. So then the story, which is the narrative, so that would be my origin story, who I am, why you should listen to me, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into it because this is going to be a long damn video if I go through all 20 anyway. So the offer, what do I offer them? What kind of services, what kind of things specifically can I do for them? The attractive character, that sort of loops back to the origin story. Now I might be messing this up, but part of the sustainability is I do my book reviews, the ones I've done on LinkedIn, the same way. I do it almost entirely by memory. So there's a lot of stuff missing and I could be getting some things wrong, but by and large, it's pretty solid. And I'll do something like look through a table of contents to give me memory cues, but I won't go back and look at the story. It just takes too much time, and that makes it far less sustainable. And habits, getting them sustainable, doing them every day like this is key to, being successful in the kind of stuff. That's basically what I do, is I teach people how to use those scientific principles to consistently act to produce the kind of results they want using the best science we can find. And again, real validated science, not that pseudoscientific crap. Okay, so then the next one is work your way in and buy your way in. So this is about work your way in, I believe, is about getting the content and earning their attention by doing stuff like what I'm doing now, right? So building relationships with these top 100 people by giving them something of value and asking for nothing. It's sort of the Gary V jab, 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 right hook. Buy your way in is about advertising so that you're getting in front of those ideal 100, those top 100, or people like them. And of course, that's about purchasing ads. And he says some really interesting things about the way that should happen. And that is essentially, as long as you're breaking even, that the income you're pulling in from your traffic cancels out the cost of the traffic. That's break even, and that's completely a sustainable model. So then you can scale that up. So, if you're spending $100 per month on traffic, which is obviously very little, but if you can do that and you break even and you make $100 or $101, then you can scale that up and you can spend $1,000 knowing, after testing, of course, and seeing some results, that you can then spend $1,000 a month and you're going to get $1,000 a month back. So that's sustainable and you can scale it up. So that's about the traffic about buying your way in. Okay, where are we going now? It keeps resetting. Okay, so traffic. And then next he talks about secret number 5, which is traffic that you own. So traffic that you own is people you've added to your mailing list. So now that you can contact them directly, you don't have to buy your way in or buy more ads or traffic to drive up your viewability of your content. There's 20 of these, so we should be doing all right. Next one is follow-up funnels. I barely remember anything about what that is. I just think it's bottom line, automating your follow-up with the people of value who are traffic that you own, right? So you've already got their email information, you ping them with something related to added value to see what they're doing, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's just following up. So it says infiltrating the dream 100. Now this is where you're specifically going after those individuals by joining their social media, joining their media platforms, and commenting and adding value and everything else, basically getting noticed over time. Now he talked about, what was it? Dig your well before you're thirsty. So that's what this is about. This is about give them a bunch of value before you ask for anything. So they see you commenting, they ultimately, at least ideally, we interact with you. Realistically, a lot of the big dogs will not interact with you, but if you show up consistently enough and give value, though people like Ray Dalio, sorry, and Gary V haven't really ever responded to me, they probably know who I am after I've been commenting on their posts for 2 years. So how I can take that forward, I'm not sure. I can't remember the details, but that's why this book is something really valuable to me. So then the next one is fill your funnel. This is section 2, secret 8. Fill your funnel organically. Work your way in. So I've already kind of elaborated on that with building up relationships with these top 100. Fill your funnel with paid ads. I've also already kind of covered that with, paying your way to get in front of your top 100 and people like them. So the reason I've already covered a lot of these is because, again, I'm doing this from memory and just using this book thing as a view. Instagram traffic secrets, don't know them, but that's pretty obvious. Facebook traffic secrets, obvious. Google traffic secrets, obvious. Now, of course, what I mean by obvious is not that those traffic secrets are obvious, but that secret is self-evident and I don't remember what they are. So the only one that is specific to me, YouTube traffic secrets, I could tell you a little bit about that, but I think that I'm not going to worry about those details because I don't want to get them wrong, other than saying it still comes down to the same thing in all of these, is to post relevant content of value to the people you're after, make it worth them interacting with you. And obviously you're going to buy ads. That's a thing that's self-evident too, that you make sure you have a well-defined target market based on those top 100. After the slaps and snaps. So this was Russell talking about the Google slap and other things when Google and other large advertisers change their algorithms and suddenly it kills your traffic. That's the slaps. What are snaps? I don't remember. Is that a small slap or is that when you solve the problem? I'm just going to tell you I don't remember. Conversion domination, well, that's obviously about strategies for dominating your conversions. I don't remember the details. It's already been a couple weeks since I read this book, so I'm just going to wing this all the way through. The Funnel Hub. Damn it, there's lots of things here I don't remember by name. So the Funnel Hub, I believe that's just a matter of setting up your information in such a way where you can where it's centralized, where it's all in one place, and you lay it out so that it's specific for those people, for your target market. Hell, I don't remember. Close enough. Okay, so people's distribution channels. Okay, so this is obviously about finding out distribution. Sounds like I didn't read this book, doesn't it? Or listen to this book, but I assure you I did. But here's an important point too, is that people have this delusion that they remember all of what they consume, and it's far from it. In fact, had I did this review earlier or interacted again with the content since, wrote out some systems of my own, basically some specific notes for my application of this, not just for this review, it would have been better. So I call it swimming in it. So that's when you take knowledge that's new to you and you interact and you say, how would I use this? How would I, or trying to apply it. So anything that you're learning, you want to review as one thing, but it's really review is the wrong word. It should be production. I'll go into the details of that in a different video, because this is already getting long. Wow, 22 minutes. Okay, so essentially applying the material, or even going through the cognition of applying the material, not, oh yes, I understand that. Yes, I understand that is bullshit. It teaches you almost nothing. You understand it, but how would you use it? You go that extra step, do the deep level processing of saying, okay, here's what they said, here's how I would do that. That other step beyond production. So production is when you use like flashcards or something. Hey everybody, I'm back. Amazon at the door delivering some stuff for me. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about the deep level cognition, or the deep level processing you do to convert. First of all, let's get back to what I was saying, which was, say, flashcards, which all people pretty much use wrong. You don't look at the front, say, I'm pretty sure I know that, look at the back and say, oh yes, I knew that. That's not production, that's recognition. And it is a far lower level of processing and understanding and memory of that information. So instead, and this is important because this is what I should have done with this, but I'm still going with it, sustainability over perfection, for this video series. Essentially what you want to do is you want to interact with the information. So if you're reviewing it, or more accurately, as I said before, producing it, you produce it by looking at the front of your flashcard. You can do this digitally with a lot of ones. I recommend, sure, now I'm not going to remember what it is unless I look. Quizlet. So use Quizlet because it's by far the easiest and most user-friendly. You can use Anki if you want. I don't really love it. It's more powerful, but it's a pain in the ass to use. And this goes into another part of psychology and the reason that everybody goes after the lowest common denominator. People are by default pleasure-seeking, lazy, overeating, and negative. Okay, I'll go into the details of that again in another video. But the bottom line is, especially when it comes to sustainability of habits and behaviors, if it's too difficult, especially at the beginning when it's the most challenging, you're going to quit. Now, don't confuse this with atomic habits and tiny habits, which I despise because they go to the extreme on making it easy. You want to make things as sustainable as possible, but as challenging as you can handle, which is why those two books and those two systems utterly fail. And I have millions of data points to support that position. So when you're getting into information, when you want to learn it deeply, like what I'm doing here, because I didn't deep level process this information recently, it was about 2 weeks ago, because I didn't do the production like the flashcards, right? So you look at the front, you put a word in like, for example, other people's distribution channels. Had I made a flashcard, there's several things that are important there. And that is the flashcard would be part of the deep level processing, right? You can get prefab flashcards for almost anything, but it's better to actually make them yourself. So this is straying off this book review, but it's relevant because I don't remember this stuff right now. And that is because had I done a flashcard for this stuff, you can even just copy and paste sections out of the book or type them into the front and back of a flashcard. So for example, with this, I could have done people's distribution channels. And then on the back of the flashcard, put some comment as to what that means. And then when you're reviewing it or when you're producing it, I would say the best thing to do is you look at the scientifically proven best way to do it is you look at the front and you make an attempt to produce what you have on the back, at least thematically. It doesn't have to be word for word. Rote memory unto itself is crap, because something you remember but don't understand is something you can't apply or use. And you're going to have to use brute force memorization. And versus if you have deep level processing, like you go, okay, so this other people's distribution channels. I now remember what it was. I'm glad I talked my way through it. So other people's distribution channels is when he talked about being on a forum and how people were debating about the best way to make use of things and to make use of resources and leverage resources. And the owner of the forum says, I rely on my affiliates. So this is about developing, I think so, affiliate relationships and strategic relationships with people who are in your network. So another friend of mine, Erica Bates, she's does virtual summits and that. I would recommend connecting with her too. I don't make recommendations that I don't believe in. I'm not getting paid to say that. She doesn't even know I'm saying it. So she is really brilliant at observing what other successful people are doing. And there's good reasons to duplicate success, and there's good reasons to ignore and go back to first principles and larger ideas. Because if you ever want to create disruptive innovation, you can't do that by copying others. You have to copy others and extend, or simply derive their first principles or your own first principles, and then create tactics from there, because you can't get beyond what somebody's doing by copying what somebody's doing. That said, as Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues, and it's definitely worth leveraging many other people's insights. That's why I read so many damn books or listen to so many damn books. Okay, so other people's distribution channels is about developing affiliate relationships and even paying them if necessary. And in most cases, it's probably rewarding to pay them a lot. As I said, Erica, my friend I was just talking about, I believe she has, especially when it's for summits, she recommends that you give affiliate relationship percentages of 50%. That is, each of you get 50% of whatever income comes from them connecting. And that might sound like a lot, but now you're getting other people's distribution channels. Especially at the start, it's well worth giving them half. The extra incentive you give them gives them more motivation to funnel more people your way and do work that you don't have to do to get other people. And especially since it's an intro product or something like that, you can upsell them later to a deeper, higher level, full service product. And so that's where it goes. Now, ironically, and I hadn't read this yet, secret number 18, your affiliate army. So I believe the secret number 17 about other people's distribution channels is related to this, as I already hooked it onto. And I didn't do that by memorizing. That was a deep level processing. Me going through the process is what allowed me to recall that, right? So that's production and recall, not memorization. I didn't memorize anything. This is not scripted, as might be obvious. And then the last one is, or sorry, the second last one is cold traffic. Kind of goes unto itself, I think. That's probably back to advertising. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to talk this one through because we're already at 33 minutes and counting. Whatever it is, cold traffic seems obvious. This is somebody you haven't been connected to otherwise. You found them through all the strategies you've used so far. I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want this to go any longer than it already has. The other one is other growth hacks, and that is other growth hacks. So that is literally the 20 secrets. Some obviously I just didn't remember, so I went over them or jumped over them, but that's it. I would first of all, like I said, listen is better than read if it produces you actually consuming more knowledge, more information from other people. And I pretty much guarantee that's the case. That said, you can also get the book, or the ideal situation to get your deep level processing that I was just talking about would be to listen and then make the flashcards, or listen and then highlight the clips. You know, I use Audible, so I just highlight the clips and then put it in a description. That alone, now you're deep level processing that information. You're taking that information and you're doing something meaningful with it, which is what I call swimming in it, right? That I referred to earlier. So you do that and you will remember it simply because you did that. So that's basically it. I highly recommend Traffic Secrets, all 3 books, but that's the quick and dirty book review for this. It's just worth, this and all 3 books are worth listening to or reading or both, and doing your deep level processing. The easiest way to do your deep level processing is to take what you learn and apply it right fucking now, right? I want the freedom to be authentic and swear in this thing. So that's why it's marked for not kids. In any case, that was my rambling, messy, and first ever video book review of Russell Brunson's Traffic Secrets. Highly recommended. 4-point-something stars. I basically don't give 5 stars, but if I did, it would be to a book like this. Read it, learn it, and more to the point, act on it. My name is Tim B. Green. This is Crush It Club. Bye for now.